Atlanta doesn't just grow, it reinvents itself. One night, you're on a rooftop in Old Fourth Ward, skyline glowing, and the next morning, there's a new coffee shop on the corner you swear wasn't there yesterday. The city feels fresh every single week, but all that energy comes with a few surprises. Hidden costs, quirks, shifts you won't see on those basic pros and cons list. This isn't the Atlanta you find on moving blogs. This is the Atlanta people are actually living. You know what's wild? Atlanta has flipped so much in just a few years. 5 years ago, people gave the same tired pros and cons, traffic, weather, cost of living. But today, these lists don't even scratch the surface. The changes are baked into daily life. It's grabbing dinner in Summerhill and realizing you need a reservation now. It's the Beltline so packed on Saturday morning, it feels like the whole city showed up. It's condo fees in Midtown creeping up like they're on autopilot. That's why this video's different. We're not rehashing the basics. We're digging into the hidden perks and the real challenges you only see when you actually live here. And the first one might surprise you. It's not traffic, it's not weather. It's how luxury apartment living has completely reinvented itself. Cultural fusion zones, redefining where to live in Atlanta's neighborhoods aren't just neighborhoods anymore. They're fusion zones. The old north to south divide, fading fast. You see it in Summerhill, where barbecue joints and breweries are packed on game day. You see it in the West End, with coffee shops and art spaces giving the streets a creative pulse. And Old Fourth Ward? Sure. Ponce City Market is still an anchor, but now startups and studios sit right next to longtime local spots, and it works. And here's the thing. Picking a place to live in Atlanta isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about the culture you want outside your front door. And that's exactly where my team comes in. If you're sitting there and watching this and thinking, okay, but how do I even figure out which area is right for me? That's the part that we love helping with. We're not some big faceless website. It's literally me and my team here in Atlanta, walking these same streets, grabbing coffee at the same shops, keeping up with all the little shifts. When you call, text, or email us, and all that info's in the description, you're talking to real people who know what it feels like to live here. So don't be shy. Even if you're just starting to daydream about a move, please reach out. We'll listen. We'll swap ideas, and we'll help you figure out what vibe fits you best. And with all of this reinvention of neighborhoods, it's not just the culture that's shifting. The costs are shifting too, which brings us to one of Atlanta's biggest curveballs, the hidden lifestyle costs that come with all of this amazing growth. Atlanta's boom has a price tag, and it's not just the rising home prices you see on the headline. It's the lifestyle costs that creep in once you're actually here. HOA fees have gotten out of control, especially in those shiny Midtown and Beltline towers. A decade ago, your condo fee might have covered trash and basic pool. Now, you're paying for skyline pools, dog spas, golf simulators, even wine tasting rooms. Sounds great until the bill shows up at $800 a month. That's not your mortgage. That's just to keep the lights on in your building's playground. Parking around Ponce City Market or Midtown, that's a hustle, okay? Deck spaces run between $150 and $200 a month. And if you skip it, you're circling North Avenue like a hawk at 7 p.m., hoping that someone leaves. It's one of those hidden premiums you don't factor in until you're living it, and suddenly it feels like another utility bill. Spring hits different here. Your car doesn't just turn yellow, it stays yellow. Especially near Piedmont Park or the Beltline, where it feels like every tree blooms at once. Windows stay shut for weeks. Antihistamines become a line item in your budget, and that thin layer of green dust is everywhere. Now layer all of that on top of MARTA. Growth is exploding, but the train system hasn't caught up yet. Try getting from Grant Park to West Midtown without a car. Odds are you'll give up and order an Uber. That gap between the flashy new lifestyle and the old infrastructure is where you really feel the cost, in your wallet, in your commute, and in your daily routines. We want to hear from you. If you already live in Atlanta, what's the hidden cost that caught you off guard? Drop it in the comments, because your story might save somebody else from learning the hard way. But here's why people put up with it. Those same growing pains are fueled by opportunity. Atlanta isn't just getting bigger, it's becoming one of the country's hottest job and innovation hubs. And that flips the story completely. Apartment living in Atlanta has gone boutique, and it's not the generic gym and pool setup anymore. Developers are building places that feel more like lifestyle hotels than rentals. Take Lily Midtown or Ascent Midtown, rooftop infinity pools with skyline views, wine tasting lounges, speakeasy bars hidden behind coded doors, even Peloton rooms and cold plunge recovery stations. Over near the Beltline at buildings like Novel Old Fourth Ward, you'll find outdoor pizza ovens, fire pits, and full co-working suites, some with podcast studios built right in. It's more than just cool features. It's changing how people live. Instead of driving across town to a gym, residents are booking classes in their own building studio. Instead of heading to a coffee shop, they're opening their laptops by the pool. Friday night hangouts? It's just an elevator ride to the rooftop. And here's the contrast. In a city where single-family homes with backyards still dominate the image of Atlanta living, these apartment communities are pulling in a new wave of young professionals and creatives who want convenient connection and a lifestyle that feels curated. Of course, that boutique lifestyle ties back to those hidden costs we talked about earlier. HOA fees and parking premiums don't disappear, they scale up. But for a lot of residents, the ability to live, work, and play without leaving the building makes it worth it. But here's the thing, even if you're living in a building with a rooftop speakeasy, once you step outside, you're still in Atlanta. And that means facing down one of the city's oldest struggles, traffic. Let's talk about how commuting here has changed and why it's not as simple as rush hour anymore. Here's a reality check. Atlanta's shiny growth hasn't come with the infrastructure to match. And nowhere is that more obvious than when you try to park. Take the Beltline on a Saturday. Breweries in West Midtown, markets at Krog Street, festivals near Piedmont Park. The energy is unmatched, but good luck finding a parking spot that isn't $20 and 3 neighborhoods away. Even residents in new luxury towers are paying $150 to $200 a month just to park in their own building's deck. Skip it, and you're circling like a hawk, praying that somebody pulls out before your patience runs out. And locals know this dance too well. You head to Ponce City Market for dinner, circle for 25 minutes, finally squeeze into a spot 6 blocks away, only to discover there's a Hawks game the same night and half the decks have flipped into event parking at $30 a pop. Or you plan ahead, leave work at 4:30 to beat rush hour and somehow still end up in rush hour. That's Atlanta math for you. And it's not just parking. Roads weren't designed for the wave of people moving in. So bottlenecks are everywhere. 10th Street in Midtown, North Avenue in Ponce, Howell Mill on a Friday, adding construction cranes, delivery trucks, blocking lanes, and Ubers stopping right in the middle of traffic. And it feels like the city is busting at the seams 24/7. MARTA could have been the relief valve, but expansion hasn't kept up. If you're commuting downtown to Decatur, fine, but try getting from Grant Park to Buckhead or Summer Hill to Midtown. You'll give up and grab an Uber before you even figure out the route. The real sting here is that it doesn't just waste time, it reshapes your daily life. People plan dinners based on where parking is possible. Apartment hunters factor in monthly deck fees like it's a second rent. Entire weekends are decided by which neighborhoods are least painful to get into. It's not just a nuisance, it's a tax on your lifestyle that comes with Atlanta's rapid growth. But here's the flip side. The same growth that clogs the streets is also fueling opportunity. Atlanta isn't just coasting on its history anymore. It's becoming a hub for tech, film, and startups. Atlanta's flipping the script on what a southern city looks like. You don't just have skyscrapers and corporate HQs anymore. You've got whole neighborhoods turning into live, walk, create zones. Take Tech Square in Midtown. Walk down Spring Street and it's buzzing. Students on scooters, startup guys pitching at Relevator Coffee, Google badges mixed in with Georgia Tech backpack. The sidewalks are a mess with scooters tossed everywhere. Parking will make you cry, but the energy, it's wild. It feels like the future's being drafted block by block. Over in Trilith, south of the city, you'll see a different kind of energy. Parents are dropping kids at school, while a Marvel crew sets up for filming down the street. The neighborhood looks like it was built for Instagram. And honestly, it kind of was. Gorgeous, polished, and expensive. Locals joke you need a production budget just to buy there. Still, it's the only place where small town streets double as a Hollywood backlot. Then head west and the story changes again. In West Midtown, the warehouses that used to collect dust now hold robotics labs, co-working lofts, and Monday night brewing under the same roofline. It's the kind of place where you can bounce from a design meeting to tacos with friends and overhear someone sketching out their next app idea. Howell Mill traffic will test your patience, but that's the price of living in a district that reinvented itself almost overnight. This is the new Atlanta. Not just headquarters in history, but hubs where ideas, film, tech, and design all live shoulder to shoulder. No other city in the South feels like this, and honestly, that's something to brag about. Of course, when neighborhoods light up with this much energy, the housing market follows. Living close to these hubs doesn't come cheap, and the price tags are reshaping where people can realistically plant roots. Atlanta's neighborhoods are changing fast, and you can hear it before you see it. Spend a morning in Midtown, Buckhead, or along the Beltline, and you'll run straight into the hum of cranes, jackhammers, starting at 7 a.m., and traffic cones multiplying like they own the street. In hot zones like Midtown near Piedmont Park or the Eastside Beltline, new apartment complexes, mixed-use projects are going up nonstop. That means lane closures, detours that send you circling block, and a soundscape that's less Southern charm and more urban construction playlist. It's exciting to see growth, but when you're trying to work from home or enjoy coffee on a balcony, the constant drilling can make you think twice. It's not just the big projects either. Even in Inman Park and West Midtown, construction bleeds into daily life. Your favorite parking spot? Fenced off. The street outside your taco joint? Torn up for months. And if you try to jog the Eastside Beltline on a Saturday morning lately, you've probably been rerouted onto side streets with delivery trucks and construction crews blocking the way. In Buckhead, high-rise construction has Peachtree traffic crawling with cement trucks hogging lanes during rush hour. Locals here joke Atlanta's unofficial mascot isn't the peak, it's the orange traffic cone. Growth has its perks, but right now it comes with daily noise, blocked roads, and a patience test you can't avoid if you're near the action. And if you're sitting there thinking, all right, how do I actually figure out which neighborhood gives me the energy I want without the construction headache? That's literally why my team exists. We're not just some giant call center. It's just real people who live here and deal with the same daily stuff that you do. We know which streets stay loud, which corners get blocked off for months, and where you can actually find some peace and quiet without being cut off from the fun. So, if you're even a little curious, don't be shy. Call us, text us, email us. Whatever feels easiest. I see those messages myself, and we love hearing from people who are exploring Atlanta. No pressure, no scripts, just a conversation about what could work for you. The twist is the very projects causing all that noise are also fueling Atlanta's growth. And when you zoom out, that growth has a huge impact on the one thing everyone cares about: cost of living. Atlanta's food scene has leveled up. And it is way more than barbecue and fried chicken. On Buford Highway, you can eat your way across the globe. Pho at Pho Dai Loy, Korean barbecue at Yet To, pupusas at La Delicias de la Abuela, and fiery hot pots at Masterpiece. It's no wonder the Michelin Guide finally put Atlanta on the map. Inside the city, whole neighborhoods are turning into culinary destinations. Summerhill has gone from an empty storefronts to chef-driven spots like Little Bear and sweet stops like Big Softy. West Midtown turned old warehouses into fine dining at Bacchanalia and Aziza, while Old Fourth Ward keeps foodies on their toes with pop-ups at Pont City Market and staples like Staple House. Atlanta's identity also shows up in its Black-owned restaurants. From Twisted Soul, Cookhouse, and Pours to the cultural phenomenon of Slutty Vegan. Hey Pinky! And the underdog gems still matter just as much. A late-night taco stand behind a Chevron in Chamblee, or warm inerja from a tiny Clarkston bakery. For locals, food is part of daily life and even housing choices. Living near Buford Highway means dumplings after work. Around Ponce, it's tacos at Monero before a Fox Theater show. In West Midtown, it's fighting for a reservation at the next big thing. Atlanta's food scene isn't just diverse, it shapes how neighborhoods feel and who wants to live there. Of course, eating well comes with a price, and that leads straight into one of Atlanta's biggest shifts: the rising cost of living. Atlanta used to be the place where you could stretch your dollar, but those days are shifting fast, especially if you're looking in town. In Old Fourth Ward, Virginia Highland, and Inman Park, home prices have climbed more than 30% in the past 5 years. That bungalow on Elizabeth Street in Inman Park that once sold in the 400s, today it's a bidding war, trophy going well into the 700,000s or higher. Condos and townhomes aren't immune either. In Midtown, those shiny new towners that used to lure young renters with 2 months free deals are now filling up at Miami level rents. A sleek one-bedroom in Midtown can easily run you $2,200 a month, while the same budget in Smyrna might cover a 2-story townhome with a garage and a backyard. That's the Atlanta choice in a nutshell. Pay for the action or pay for the space. And homeowners get another curveball. When property values spike, property taxes follow right behind. Plenty of first-time buyers learn that lesson the hard way when the tax bill shows up. Still, smart buyers and renters are finding their lanes. Just outside the perimeter, in Decatur, Brookhaven, or Smyrna, you can still score designer kitchens, fenced yards, and extra square footage without Midtown pricing. But that lifestyle shift comes with longer commutes and fewer walkable parks. So it's not just about price, it's about priorities. Renters face hidden costs too. Those luxury apartments with rooftop pools, dog spas, and wine lounges may look like a dream, but once you add HOA-style fees, parking costs, and rising utilities, the affordable Atlanta reputation starts to crumble. So yes, compared to New York or LA, Atlanta is still a deal. But for locals, the sticker shock is real, and it's reshaping not just who moves here, but who can afford to stay. Now, even with those rising housing costs we just talked about, here's the silver lining. Atlanta is still competitive when you stack it against other major cities. This is where people from New York, LA, San Francisco, or Miami do a double take. Because even at Atlanta's new price points, you're still getting a whole lot more life for your money. Take New York. The cost of a one-bedroom rental in Brooklyn can easily clear $3,000 a month for a space where your kitchen table is basically your countertop. In Atlanta, that same budget gets you a full 2-bedroom with an actual dining room, maybe even a balcony in places like West Midtown, Brookhaven, or Sandy Springs. Same with ownership. In LA, for example, $1.2 million might buy you a modest ranch house all the way out in the valley. In Atlanta, that same number gets you a new construction modern with a yard in neighborhoods like Chastain Park or Morningside. Or take Decatur. Families there are paying around $2,400 a month for a renovated 3-bedroom with a yard. In San Francisco or DC, that same home could run you closer to $5,000 a month. That's the difference that makes people pause. And it's not just the housing. Day-to-day costs are different here. Gas is cheaper, groceries run lower, and property taxes in many parts of Atlanta are still far less brutal than in New Jersey or California. Even a regular week looks different. You could stock up at a Kroger in Midtown, hit a farmer's market on Ponce, and still spend less than you would at a single Trader Joe's run in Manhattan. Dining out has its own range too. You can have a Michelin-starred level meal at Mujo or Bacchanalia, then the next night grab authentic tacos on Buford Highway without your wallet screaming. That range is part of the Atlanta equation. You can stretch and save in ways that aren't possible in the bigger coastal markets. The bottom line, yes, Atlanta costs are climbing. But when you zoom out and look at the big picture, it's still one of the most financially accessible big city lifestyles in the US. I'd love to hear from you. If you had to compare Atlanta's cost of living to another city, which one comes to mind first? And for my locals already here, tell me your go-to neighborhoods where you feel like the bang for your buck is still strong. Drop it in the comments. I guarantee the mix of answers will be eye-opening. But of course, saving money on rent or groceries doesn't fix everything, because the real test of daily life in Atlanta isn't just what you spend, it's how much time you're losing sitting in traffic. The truth is, this is still a car-first city. MARTA does what it does, but unless you're living right along one of the main lines, it won't carry you through your daily routine. You're still driving to the grocery store, the gym, and even your favorite restaurant. And because of Atlanta's rapid growth, the patterns have gotten weird. Rush hour isn't just 8 to 9 and 5 to 6 anymore. With many people on hybrid or flexible schedules, you can still hit heavy traffic at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday or 2 p.m. on a Friday. And it's not just the highways. Neighborhood streets have gotten more crowded too. On weekends, the Beltline becomes a slow-moving parade of strollers, scooters, and cyclists. Parking near hotspots like Ponce City Market or Krog Street Market? That can turn into a 20-minute scavenger hunt. Here's where locals feel it. The commute times have stretched even without the traditional commute. If you're living up in Alpharetta but working part-time in Midtown, or if your kid's school is in Decatur and your office is in Buckhead, you're calculating routes like a professional driver just to get through the week. This isn't just an inconvenience. It changes how you think about where you want to live. A house that looks perfect on paper might feel completely different once you realize it means 45 minutes in the car every single morning. Commutes can be a headache, no doubt, but all those cars and all that energy are also being pulled into something exciting. And if you've been paying attention to what's happening across the city, you've probably noticed it. Atlanta's food scene has gone global. All right, so there you have it. Atlanta right now is a mix of big wins and very real trade-offs. Cultural fusion zones are breaking old boundaries. The food scene is stepping onto the global stage. And innovation hubs are pulling in talent from everywhere. But at the same time, you're juggling higher housing costs, nonstop construction, and commutes that can test anyone's patience. Here's the truth. No YouTube video can tell you exactly if the city fits your lifestyle, because it really comes down to what matters most in your everyday routine. And that's where my team and I step in. If you're curious, or even just a little curious, what moving to Atlanta could look like for you, I want you to feel totally comfortable reaching out. A lot of people tell me I wasn't sure if I could actually call or text you since you're on YouTube. But yes, you absolutely can. I see those messages, I respond to them, and I love helping people figure this out. You're not bothering us, and you don't need to have it all figured out first. Whether you just want to know which neighborhood feels like your vibe, or you're ready to start looking at houses, we're here. And if you're still in research mode, that's cool too. I've got a playlist ready which deep dives into Atlanta's neighborhoods. So click over and keep watching. It's the next best thing to walking the streets yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.